the reason why I decided to film today is because Max and I I did not unload a humongous dump right next to the pickleball field, but Max decided to. And I have not restocked my poop bags because the roll that I was carrying is empty. I emptied it last night, and so I need to put a new roll in my pocket. I forgot. So we raced to the next poop collector thing where they have poop bags. However, it's down this hill, right down here. And so we had to go all the way down and all the way back up. Yes, that's what we had to do. And I brought 2 bags and I needed them. Oh my gosh. If you have a dog, give me a second. How do you get all of it in one bag? Because I am not a master at that. I am still listening to Amari and the Night Brothers. I am still very much excited about it. And yeah, I know now that I will go for the whole series because it's just so much fun. I read some negative reviews. I do not agree with them. This is, after all, I would call it an upper middle grade series, and so it doesn't need to go as in depth as maybe adult fiction would have to go. I am currently on the verge of splurging on a plotter A5 size. And yes, I know yesterday I said I wouldn't, but I started to set up an A5 ring binder that I have laying around with some A5 paper that I still have. And it is invigorating my planning. So much so that I think this could be a thing for a while. And yes, I know I don't need to have a plotter to have invigorated planning, but also that paper is just so good, and which is actually the reason for me to switch to a different planner. And I am very, very happy. Let me down here in the shade. He is not disturbed by us at all. Yeah, I found one on Reddit that is a huge bundle. It's the plotter leather that I would like to get. It's already been used, so it has a little bit of wear, which I really like on leather. Comes with all the accessories, a collections binder thingy, and it's an actual really good price. But you know me, I know myself, I can tell myself I need something and make it very plausible that this is the way to go, and then it still backfires. So I told the seller we have a price because I was so stupid to reach out last night. I shouldn't have. So we have a price. I told them that I would sleep on it and then let them know in the morning. It is almost 8 a.m. yet. Almost 8 a.m. yet still. So still early in the morning for me, in my opinion. And so I'm gonna walk on this for the morning walk, and then I think I'm gonna say yes. The only thing that I am not willing to do, Max, can I untangle you? Okay. Is send that much money friends and family. So if they insist on friends and family, then I will not be able to get it. Which also would be, saving me from myself. Oh, wow. This is amazing. I'm still in the midst of sticker stuff, but I wanted to show you this. I made this card. This was a blank one from Pipsticks that I got years ago, and I love how it looks, and now I want to make more and more and more. So this is probably a really good way to get rid of a lot of stickers at one time, and you don't have to have a blank card. You can just use cardstock for this. I am now going through my washi tape, and I just want to tell you to use the stuff that you love at the time that you love it, because there will be one day when it's not your style anymore, and you might like it still, but also you don't see yourself using it. And so look at these. These aren't even opened yet. I have a whole bin full of stuff that is like that. I guess this is some sort of vlog now. I'm making small but steady progress on de-stashing things that no longer serve me well. They might still bring me joy because, I mean, I loved that meatball washi tape at some point, and I still love it looking at it, but I can't see myself using it in my journal. So what I'm trying to do, well, I'm still going away sometime soon, is to maybe make a dent in actually starting to make this more usable. I still haven't put up anything on my walls. That's something that I would love to do soon. Maybe when I get back. So I also, like, every time I come in here, this looks like a battlefield. I wanted to give myself the gift of cleaning up every night, but this hasn't happened yet. That would be an amazing form of self-care. But right now I'm trying to establish 10 minutes of joy in the morning. Yeah, I'm doing all these beautiful self-care things. So instead of, doing something at my desk with my stuff, I think the best joy that I can give myself is get a start on putting stuff away. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do right now. Welcome to the desk view. I am thinking of, I don't really know why I'm finding all of these stickers everywhere. Maybe there was a wind gust and it flew over, but I took all of these travelers stickers out. There's even more here that I want to add to my pouch of vinyl stickers, even though these are not, but they're big and huge, and those are most likely some that I will add to the outside of journals. Now I see and understand that there is a shit ton of stickers in here that I probably should go through, but I don't feel like I'm ready just yet. So that's not something that I'm going to tackle right now. I have gone through all of my washi tapes, and I actually sold some. So the stuff that's left, and I need to send another batch out to someone that contacted me recently. I think these ones is these three. But yeah, so this is what I have left of the washi tapes that I was ready to sell. These are 3 are still meatball washi tapes. And I mentioned it before.
when you're excited about something and you're in love with something, use it then. Share it with friends. Use it full of abandonment, like everywhere. Because there will be a point when you still love or like it, but maybe it's not the way that you journal right now. You bought it at a specific time in your life when you were using these things. Use them then, not when you're already done. And then I also, just showing you here, went through all of the stuff and took out things that don't seem to work for me anymore. So those are in here. And I will just, when I send happy mail to a friend, I will just include some of the stuff. And it's their freedom to go and do whatever they want to do with it. This one, I think, so we can talk about two things. I want to go through this basket right here. I've been taking it up and down the stairs with me basically every day this past week when I was cutting down stuff. So there's a lot of trash in here. I want to show you something new. And we can also talk about my upcoming travel because I am really, really not sure on how much I want to take. Also, given the fact that I might lose it, it might get stolen, it might get lost on the airplane. So like, am I just gonna leave everything here? I remember that Maike from Cat Collage Club took her stuff on the plane as a carry-on and it got lost. And I think that was even worse than having it checked and it getting lost. Because then she didn't even have one of those slips, you know, that you get handed when you check a bag. But I'm really struggling because I feel like if I don't take it, yeah, we can talk about that, but this thing was kind of fun because I really want to use this. And then I have these ones. This is stuff that I wanted to cut apart, and I have been cutting stuff apart, cut out. So maybe I can add this to my stuff of things to cut, and then it will finally get done at some point. I'm also I notice when I have to cut things out, I'm like, am I really going to use this? Nope. Then I'm not cutting it and putting it right into the stash that I'm going to send to friends. I'm even doing that with printables, but maybe should I leave this? Oh, it's because of the cat, the yoga. Okay. Yeah, and then I can update you on all the things that I have been. This doesn't go back into that thing. So where does it go now? We will figure it out. If you can hear chewy noises in the back, it's Max chewing on a bully stick. I hope he's gonna sleep. But so this goes there. This I want to use, so it's out of frame right now. Yes. I had a subscription for a year, which means I think 3 magazines, maybe 4. I'm not really sure. I think it's 3. And I really like it. I love the magazine. However, I have not read a single one of them. So I'm not going to renew, but I just wanted to show the Uppercase magazine to you because maybe you are not like me and maybe you are excited and would love to read this. I think there is a lot of stuff in here that you can harvest for collaging or even as inspiration. Yeah. I do plan on actually reading all of this stuff at some point. So, but if you have had this magazine, let me know how you like it, because I clearly am not doing it justice at all. I love the imagery and it looks like it will be something that I would enjoy, but I have not found a good time to actually read it. Like, I need to dedicate time in my day or week specific, like this is when I sit down and read an article. I'm just trying to survive summer, and like everything that's too ambitious is just not happening, and this is definitely one of them. But this is kind of like a tiny piece of art, so I can't actually really wait to dive into them. I'm glad I have them right here. This is the 1 page, 1 day leftover journal that I snagged from my friend Amy several years ago now. And I've always wanted to rebind the signatures. And I've finally done that for my journal. And you've seen me talking about the fact that it didn't work out with this dot grid. The ink was just not doing great at all. There is a lot of bleeding, not bleeding, this was feathering. There was no bleeding here, but there was bleeding on other. So I ripped it apart, took it apart. I kept the first page, and then I cut out this tiny snippet here and bound and cut down this. I think I took 3 signatures, and the outside part, because there is so much glue on here, is just really fragile, the spine here. So I did not use that paper. And then I bound it just like a regular traveler's notebook. And I reused the cover from the dot grid notebook. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure. I think I still need to give myself a little bit more time. And I don't know how much summer is affecting that specific problem, but I'm not in here at all. As much as I didn't like the dates in my, or didn't really, well, I liked the dates, but I didn't do daily journaling, you know? So there would always be some open spaces when I did not journal, which makes it a little, you know, I could, or not stressful, but it like, okay, there is space that I didn't do, didn't fill. Then I'm not finished because I didn't have the time or energy to go in here. So there's still definitely quite a bit of stuff that I haven't even journaled about. And I see that because there's dates here. Now there's no dates here. And I'm wondering if I want to add dates. So there's no dates here. There's not a date right here, but there's dates here and here. And I'm also like, do I leave space and add a sticky note like I did here when I had something I wanted to journal about and I just didn't have the time to do so? How likely is it that I'm actually going back to journal about it? Yeah, that's kind of really, I'm struggling more than I want to, and I'm also, even though I used only half of this A5 page, I think I'm, for my creative journal, I seem to be an A5 person at heart. So I'm curious to see if I can overcome this over this journal, and if I am going to continue sticking with this one and say, well, I have gotten used to it, I'm loving it now, this is what I'm doing. Or if I'm adjusting to this and then very grateful that I can go move back into an A5 journal. I don't really know how I'm feeling about this right now. It's a bigger struggle than I expected. Let's put it this way. But then also, it is July. It is really hot right now, and I am just surviving. So I'm not giving up on this right now. I'm just noticing the things. If you're looking at this and you're wondering, oh, what is this? This is me trying to sketch, and I don't really care what it looks like, because if I don't do it, then I will never improve. I need water because it's hot. So, yeah, I definitely have written down some things that I want to journal about, but to be honest, I'm super done in the afternoon, and I'm just not, like, I used to just come in here and drop something in here and didn't think about what it would look like, but here I'm still so unsure about that. I feel like I need time, I need space, I need the right headspace. There's like so many excuses on why I cannot do this right now. Yeah, so there's that. I don't want to give up just yet. I can see how changing on July 1st, especially with my track record on summers and me just not functioning as well during summers as during any other season, that this could be a harder struggle for me, and that this is not representative of how I'm working, like of how I'm enjoying this in a different season. So I'm just gonna keep trucking along. Now, the thing is, I'm really wondering, should I bring this on my travels? Am I going to journal while I'm away? Is this something that I should bring? How about my book journal? Like, if I have all of the info in Libby, so that's all of this is, do I just bring this and leave the cover here and travel as light as possible? That's something that I'm considering doing. Now, are we going to talk about this right now? I guess we are. Look at what's new. So this is the same thing. Am I going to bring this? Usually when I'm traveling, I tend to definitely bring my planner, and this is my new planner. Yes, you are seeing correctly. This is a plotter, A5 Shiranami. I tend to have the problem that as soon as I start talking about something and having an idea, I can make myself believe that this is the solution to my problem. Maybe even a problem that I didn't even know I existed. So I have been using the Hobonichi weeks on and off this year. However, I've never really arrived fully. Not like I have in previous years. So that's the first one. I have to definitely admit this. The only thing that kind of really worked super well is the tracker of my walking. That's number one. So this was always here if I needed to make a list or if I felt like my brain was overflowing. But most of the time, I have to admit, I used my brain as a dump. And this became most obvious, obviously, because it's summer. that I just can't think of things anymore. But I'm also not really utilizing this Hobonichi Weeks to its fullest. This is all the stuff that I have pulled out from several different planners, because I did in the past quite often use A5 planners as supplemental planners for my to-do lists. And once I started talking about this, that maybe A5 would be the better option. So my idea, because of the Hobonichi Weeks, well, let's rewind. Let's start from the beginning. I know for sure that I do not want to continue with the Hobonichi Weeks in 2026. And the reason for that is the paper. The Sanzen paper does not do it for me. I want to be able to use my fountain pens in any journal that I'm using, and the Sanzen paper just doesn't do it for me with my pens. So I need something else. I know for a fact that the plotter paper is amazing with fountain pens. And so I thought, well, the Hobonichi Weeks works. I like the size. Then the most logical thing to do would be to move into a plotter Bible size. Now, if you remember, I have already tried a Bible size plotter. The things that did not work for me was, well, first of all, I used the narrow inserts at the time because I started sometime in the year, and the Bible size weekly inserts weren't available at anywhere anymore. They were all sold out. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to make do with the narrow size. I probably should not have done that because that skewed my impression of the size of the paper, for sure. But I also did not like the thickness of the leather that was my planner then. It was the Pueblo leather in the natural brown, I think is what it's called. But that was my first thoughts. Then I thought, you know what, I could also, that was more geared towards the journaling. What if I used an A5 size plotter for my journal? The paper is amazing. I can hole punch stuff and tuck it in there. It could be more mixed media, multimedia style. That sounded very appealing. And then for some reason, that thought merged into, what if I used A5 size for my planning? And I couldn't let go of that anymore. So I pulled out a really cheap ring binder that I already own. This one. And I still had monthly pages like this that you could date yourself. So I filled them out for July and August. Then I brought out a Rhodia pad and just divided it into 7 days. And I started to use it. And then I was like, you know what, I can use this for a while. I went on the plotter site, looked at the binders that they have. They're super expensive, especially in A5. I looked at the paper pads that they have. I knew that this wouldn't do it for me because this is so stark white. The lines are so prominent and you can't really see the divider, even if you use red. Maybe because I used red, I should have probably used a different color. This is very loud, very unorganized. So that wasn't going to be it. So I thought, and also this is extremely stiff and hard. And I knew that this is not going to to do it for me to showcase how a plotter would work. Then I checked my budget. I just sold, what did I sell? Something that would enable me to buy an A5 size plotter and I think one paper pad. And then I was like, what if I find something that is already used? Because I had been, I think the Shiranami leather is one of the lesser expensive ones. But it's also one of those where you don't really know if you get what you order, if it looks the same. And so it's like, I actually prefer this already used for a bit. And so I went to search and see if I could find a used thing, which is when I found this. And this is definitely more than I actually wanted, and I spent more money than I actually wanted, but I did, if I had purchased all of this, I would have spent way more. And so I decided, you know what? Every time I've used A5 planners, they worked. So I bought this whole set, which is like, wow, more than I ever wanted. My friend Claudia always says a bargain isn't a bargain if you didn't intend to buy it. That is definitely partially true for me, because this, I probably wouldn't have bought this. I also probably wouldn't have bought this. And I haven't added it to the plotter just yet. And then I did want to buy the chart grid because this is exactly 7, which would enable me to use this as a weekly spread. And because of course the weekly inserts for 2025 are already sold out again. It's July. What do you expect? I still had this paper pad left, so this one was from me, but I also got the 6mm ruled, the 2mm grid, another pad of the to-do lists, and some of those project folders. And in theory, I think this could work. In theory, I also think that this could be the last planner that I buy, because I love the size of the A5 and I really love the slimness of this A5 binder. Of course, it's bigger than a week's for sure, and it's harder to carry. That's not, obviously, that is still true. This is definitely bigger than a week's, but it's not much wider. And to talk to the tiny rings and the fact that there's not a lot of space, I am not currently utilizing whatever the monthly pages in the weeks because they're too small for me. I used some, not all of the weeklies, and let's go back here. Of the, how many? 70 notes pages, I'm using 1, 2, well, let's just see what page I'm on. Number 13 plus 1. So 14 pages. This, for me, is too much, actually. So I don't need this much paper in a Hobonichi Weeks. A Hobonichi Weeks Mega would be way too much paper for me. So the fact that one of the negative points, again, is the slim rings that don't leave a lot of room, which I actually don't really need. So let me just quickly show you what I have so far. I removed this from somewhere and stuck it on here. I don't know if these come with the plotter, but this was in here. And that is definitely something that I found, I think, is necessary to have is these bigger, I don't know what they're called, is these bigger things. So it also came with this ring protector, which costs extra. This divider thing costs extra. This one costs extra, and this, I don't know where this is from again. I just stuck it in to have some stability. And then this closure elastic board thingamajig. So the guy who sold it to me also included the monthly pages from August all the way to March 2026. So if I find that I'm using these monthly pages, I will definitely add those to my purchase list for 2026. Now, okay, let me show you how I started to set it up. So I am using one of these with a to-do list as a weekly spread. And my first thought was, oh my God, this could be so extremely minimal and laid back, no pressure, blah, blah, blah. And then I went through all of my washi tapes and I found those date washi tapes that I have. I've also in the past made my own date stickers. And so what I did was for July, I stuck all of these numbers that I found already cut out, ready to stick down in my little teeny tiny book here. Is it loud? Absolutely. Do I care? No. Am I going to do this all the time? I don't think so. We will see. I'm just going to play with it. I have undated planner pages for sure until the end of the year. And so I can just, do whatever I want and how I want to do it for the foreseeable future. And this is definitely helping me do things. Now, I don't know if this is, I backdated, I took those lined, whatever I put on here, I transferred over to these. So I started on the week with July 1st is here. We are currently somewhere here. I think this is next Monday. And so I also transferred the to-dos that I had already written down. Now, that's this. So I am using this pen currently, which I know I said I want to use my fountain pens. This is clearly not a fountain pen. This is the Uni Jetstream 4-in-1. So it has 4 different colors of ballpoint ink and a pencil. And I do want to use my fountain pens. However, I think I'm going to hold off until I get back to do that, because I can take this and add to do stuff. I did this when it was dark and I didn't realize that I was using blue instead of black. But what I had been doing for quite a long time, since I've been using a multi-pen in my planner, is using black for to-dos, using red to highlight or cancel out things, or bring out things that are more important than others, and then use the blue for memory keeping. If I don't have my journal at hand, or if there's something that I want to note down but maybe don't want to journal about, this is the blue. And then because this has one more, I have a green as well. I'm not sure what I'm using that for, but so I'm using this box right in the front currently for my dates. and then the rest for my to-do list and appointments, and then this as my to-dos. What I like about this to-do list here is that there is a percentage over here that I could use. But also, I'm not only using this for to-dos. I'm also using this as a brain dump section. For instance, here I put down the sections for Plotter that I want to have, like different papers, maybe some of those project binders back here. Not sure how that's going to go. All the ideas and thoughts that I have usually go here. That's exactly the same way how I used my weeks. I just didn't use it enough. I'm not sure that that is because of the weeks and the paper and whatever. It might just be that I am currently very excited about this new format and that I'm able to put down all the things that I have in my brain here. We will see how long it takes to fizzle out. Now, what you can see is that this is my regular handwriting. I don't have to use 2 lines for one thought, which is something that would happen frequently in Bible size or weeks. That's why I'm always very partial to A5, because that is how I can use my natural handwriting without any modifications and feel like I'm doing the right things. Now, I'm not sure if, well, number one, these I did for a 30 inks, 30 days, and I never used it. And I'm really glad that I use them now. I think this is Chennai. What's the one of my favorite inks of 2023. So if I probably did this in 2023, finally stuck it down. I did this also maybe in 2023, maybe even earlier. And I've printed those on sticker paper, and so I just had to stick them down. I wanted to use this. It was too big and too, even though now that I look at it, this looks very like laid back, as if it was blending into the page. But when I cut it out and stuck it down, it didn't look as good as this. So my main focus was to use up all of these numbers, and then wherever I had gaps, I picked those. And obviously, as you can see, it's very loud, very, I don't know. We'll see how it's going to go. I do still have this whole set, and I'm thinking about maybe I'm just gonna stick, you know what? How about we do that right now? What I'm going to do for sure is I'm just gonna throw these into this Xyron sticker maker, because that means that I can just pull this through. And then what is the next number? Maybe I don't have any more of those. What is 5, 6, 7? Nah, maybe I don't have them all. I just thought I had them. Why is this missing? So I'm missing 5, 6, 7. Is that correct? Maybe it's in here. Yep. I should have cut this down. Okay, whatever. But I can do this with this next one. And then I can date August and see how it looks with a smaller date. I could also use my date stamp. There's so many different options that I could do with this. But also, it feels really good to be able to use up stuff that I've had for a while and that I had specifically made for something like this. Maybe I was more thinking of using it in my journal, but plans change, and we are changing too. So 14, 15. '18, 19, 20. This was a sheening ink. I could also use one of my parallel pens. Oh no! What did I do? 20, 21, 22, 23. I hope I didn't do that only with the 19. Okay, wow. That sucks. 23, 24, 25, 26. 27. Yeah, so now I'm wondering, do I want to date my daily journal that's not daily? Do I want to date that somehow? And if so, what would I do? For some reason, so let's just cut this right here. So what you do basically is you just cut this apart or take this off, and then you have a sticker back. Oh, but then you don't put it down here because that is not good, clearly, as we can see. And this is also not good. Oh my God, what am I doing? I might have to, you know what, I might have to add another to-do list in here. So, and then we're just gonna cut these to size. Maybe I should put this on time lapse. Yeah, so do I want to add my dates as a part of the design of my journal? Is that something that I'm looking to do? I'm really not sure, and I'm struggling with that idea. I liked having the dates in the take a note, but those were printed and very laid back. And I liked having, yeah, I struggled with them because I clearly didn't daily journal, but I also really liked having them because it made me more, it's like, oh, have I discovered something important, small, fun to commemorate for today already, or have I not? And now it's not dated, and I'm like, oh, I don't need to journal, so I don't need to pay attention as close as I used to, which is clearly not what I had intended. So now that's the big question that I'm asking myself is, how do I approach the not dated issue? How do I make sure that I'm taking the time? Because to be honest, when there were dates, it was like, okay, I haven't journaled since Tuesday. Today's Saturday. I should get in there because the gaps are getting bigger and bigger. Now it's like, there's no dates. I can just use the next page. So I don't feel the sense of urgency that I had when it was still dated. That is the first thing. And then I have so many different date stickers that for some reason like appeal to me for, as I said, for some reason, which I can't really explain, and that I would love to use, but I'm also at the same time afraid that they would take away from the rest of the journal spread. So how do I incorporate that? I'm like, I want to be aesthetic, and at the same time, I want to be so cute. Like, I'm going to show you one of the date stickers that I have here that I'm like, this is the cutest. Okay, where is it? I think it's number, no, not 14. Maybe it is 14 and I just don't see it. Nope. It's one of, oh, this one, for instance. But there's more like this. Look at this. Isn't it the cutest? Well, how can I not want to use this? But would it take away from my journal? What am I doing? This is not going to stick because it's also overlapping, but maybe it sticks enough for me to stick it in here. Yeah, ish. So I'm circling back to that, and I just don't really know how to approach it. Maybe I should just try, but then I'm afraid that I'm gonna ruin my journal, and then the journal police is gonna come and fire me. I don't know. Like, what exactly? Why? It's good that we're talking about this because it makes me question my motives. You know what I mean? Like, why am I even so concerned about this? Who is out there telling me that, well, you know, this page doesn't fit with the other aesthetic, so we think you should just stop it. You're not fit to journal, so you are not allowed to do that anymore. Like, who is that person? The only thing that could happen is that someone is out there, but they probably wouldn't stop watching my YouTube videos for my journals. They would probably stop watching because I'm just so freaking chatty. So it's like, yeah, okay. So what I have come to the conclusion right now is that I should just do whatever the fuck I want in my journal, which is to use dates and not use dates. Okay, what do I want to know from you? I would love to know if you are, what kind of journal you're using. Is it dated? Is it undated? Obviously, I don't even know what my journal is. Is it a sketch journal? Not really. It's a creative journal. Yeah, it's definitely not a just words journal. However, I do currently sometimes think maybe I should just use words because I do have stuff to say, but I also sometimes don't feel the energy to journal. So would I combine that? You know what? Here, let me show you something. When I used this, I would just journal. I mean, okay, this is a decoration, but still, it's not really a decoration, right? So I think I'm too afraid to use my journal and just use it. And I think I also am afraid to, well, I would love to document this and this and this snippet, but I haven't had the time to do that. But now I'm feeling the urge to write. Now, do I skip pages or do I write right now? What if I date? If I date the entry, then the journal police will notice that this is dated for the 13th of August and the other thing is dated for the 11th and it comes after. What am I going to do then? I'm so glad we are talking about this, even though I'm mocking myself and it sounds really weird. And as much as I think those thoughts are super childish, those are the exact thoughts that I'm having. And I'm glad that I'm voicing them right now, even though it might only be interesting to me, because that is helping me work through them. Highly recommend a YouTube channel and chatting with your YouTube buddies about the stuff that you're overthinking, because most of the time you will figure it out when you talk about it aloud. So, how do I feel about scrambled dates? I'm currently having heart palpitations. No, I don't. But that is something that I'm really struggling with, letting go of. The fact that it's not chronological. So what could I do? I have already here. So this is, okay. Let's go to the journal, because that's basically what I'm just working on something and I'm talking about it to you. So this is not documented on here, but I've already documented all of this. Maybe not Max comes to work with me, but this is going to be a regular thing, so I can journal about it some other day. But I've already journaled in here. So why am I having problems? Okay. So I've written down journal, go through stuff, letting go. Journal means I want to write that in my journal. So I haven't done that yet. So that would be a page right here. Then I have the poop story would go here. Was there something else that I wanted to talk about? Oh yeah, the plotter goes right here. I could just, yeah, I should. And maybe then I need to dedicate my snippets from my desk Sundays to the stories that I haven't had the chance to document during the week. What do I think about that? So I probably should have sticky notes that I then can put in here to indicate what story wants to go where, so that when I am in the mood to journal about something right now, but I don't want to document the thing here, then I could use this page. Okay, so what do I think about the dating? I don't know. I think I just need to play it by ear, kind of. Maybe, so I did this, just using the same pen and adding the date at the bottom. And I kind of like that, but then I didn't want to do it here, and I also didn't put it here. I could use different things, But by adding a date sticker or one of those cutesy things right here, I will for sure put weight to the date that maybe I haven't done in a long time. So yeah, that's another thing that I will have to think about. This, to be honest, this is a little loud right here. But this, I really like. I do like this for sure. So it doesn't have to be, this is minimal, I believe. It's kind of sticky right now, but that's okay. We can live with this. So let me grab the next set. Oh, there's 2 of those overlays. So yeah, okay. I do think, hold on, hold please. Here are my 2 meatball washi rolls, and what I want to do is go and look what is actually on them. I haven't looked at these in a long time, so these are all almost a little too big, so I would have to put them like, you know, staggered like this. Oh, that's not even, maybe that's not even mine. Okay, this is small. These are half the size, so these, yep, would fit. They're also kind of in a muted color scheme. And then we go back. So I think it's just 2 different ones. Nope, there is these stamps. Okay, 3 different color schemes. Yeah, I'm currently, I'm always saying currently. Totally forgot this. So sorry. Yeah, so what am I thinking? I need to roll all of this back up. That sucks. I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I also have a set of these ones. These are square with numbers, which I also really like. Heck, man. The problem that comes with these date stickers is if you don't date every single day, you have that odd number out and it's just like left over. Okay, let's look at these ones. These are quite big, but they're cute. Is this the ones with the carrots? No. Let me take this off. It makes it hard. Then we have these kind of frames. And then this is the small ones. So I have a whole set of those small ones, and then I guess it repeats. Yes. Okay. This only goes to 30. That sucks, but September has 30 days. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna cut this right out. Because I'm not one of those people who, I want to stop being one of those people who continuously thinks of things and then chickens out. So, now the only question is, am I dating this one too? I don't want to. Okay, we got that. That is. So what if I just stick this in here? This feels like it's a lot, right? It's like, let's go from 0 to 100 in a day. So I'm done rolling this up here. This I can do when I'm watching TV tonight. So I'm just going to add the September one as well then. But I'm going to finish this with you now. How am I going to... Well, okay, I'm just going to pull this off and then cut it. And then see if I need to use some glue to add it to this. So this was 17, then 18. Oh, look at this, isn't even dry yet. What the fuck? I need to clean up my desk in a second. Have I talked about my 10 minutes of joy? Not yet. So maybe if I start going back to the 10 minutes of joy, then I'm gonna have an easier time journaling, could be also an issue. So I wanted to make a whole video about this, but I'm trying to do more self-care. Well, blah, blah, blah. The self-care that I like, because I also really need to do exercise self-care, which is a little tougher to accomplish. But I am trying to get up early and get done with my morning routine so that I have 10 minutes before I need to leave for work that I can sit down in front of my table right here and journal. Do something creative. Do something that brings me joy. I was really good at doing that in June before it got so hot. So I was able to, most of these journal entries here are when I sat down 10 minutes in the morning and added a journal entry. And that brought me joy at that moment. It wasn't always, or it isn't always journaling. It might be writing a postcard, addressing a letter so I can take it to work. So it's not necessarily always something in my journal, but it's always something that brings me joy in that specific moment. And I noticed a big change in how I approached the rest of my day, which is the reason why I want to go back to that. And I totally stopped doing this when my husband and my son went away for nationals, because then suddenly I was completely thrown back into how it was when I was living, when we were still in Germany. I had 3 kids from the age of 1 to 5. 1, 3, 5, yeah. Or 0, 2, and 4. And my husband went to conferences 2 to 3 times a year, and I would be at home alone for a week with the 3 kids. I was so shocked that week how much I felt thrown back into that with the dog. Yes, he is 1.5 now, almost 2. Well, in October he turns 2, but he's still a puppy at heart. And he is still, I've read that Labradors are in adolescence for a long time. And I can attest to that. He's such a spunk, cannot not be left unattended for a long time, because he will get into all the things. So first of all, we still have a long way of training ahead of us, but also we are, so if I'm not, like, someone has to pay attention all the time. You're on. When he's awake, you're on. Unless he's sleeping. But if you get up, he's like, where are you going? That's still stuff that we're working on, but it takes a long time. And it's constant. Being on constantly is so stressful, which is, long story short, I did not have the time in the morning to sit down for 10 minutes and do something for myself. And when they got back, weather changed and it got even hotter. So yeah, is September the month where we start on a Monday? I think so. That is so cool. I love that. I love that about September. I love months where we start the 1st on a Monday. It's kind of like a planner's happy place. So I'm trying to get back to that, doing 10 minutes of joy in the morning. And now that we're talking about it, and I'm so glad that you are still listening, maybe I should bring my journal, because maybe that's exactly what I need to not feel as frazzled during traveling as I usually do. What if I just try and establish those 10 minutes for myself in the morning when I'm traveling too? Like, this is as much time as I can give to myself, and I can also enforce and let people know, no, sorry, I am taking 10 minutes to myself. I am not ready yet. I don't have time for you yet, because that is my time. Maybe that's something that I really need to do and enforce, and maybe that will help me feel better. So just like I was extremely frazzled and brain dead when my husband and my youngest weren't here, I feel even more not in control of myself when I'm traveling. I kind of leave part of myself at home, I feel. And I have not found a good way of combating that. And maybe because I haven't ever thought about it. Like, what is missing? Why am I feeling that way? So completely out of control and just so in the air. It's weird. If you have that same thing, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's really hard to describe. Yeah. So, but where do I write that down? So I guess I'm going to bring my journal. I guess I'm going to bring my planner, just in case something goes wrong and I want to write something down that needs more, so that I have more space. I'm thinking about my fountain pens too. Like, am I bringing them? Should I? Should I not? I'm kind of scared, but I'm also feeling like, what if I don't have them, then I'm gonna be like not the right like, I want to do everything that I have in my possession, basically, to make sure that I'm okay while I'm not here, while I'm gone. And I feel like my fountain pens are kind of like part of who I am. And if I'm leaving part of who I am at home, of course my trip is going to be jinxed and I don't feel like myself. I hope that makes, oh my God, this is so bad. I hope that makes sense. So if I need, September has 30 days. That means divided by 7, 14, 21, 28. Okay, that's enough for September, so I can just put those in here. And then I'm gonna add more to-do lists too. And then I'm gonna show you the rest of the planner, which is not really very, like, you know, life-changing. There's nothing there yet. How many do I need? Maybe this many. Okay, so there's a to-do list in here. Okay, I can also show you how much is in here right now, and then you can decide for yourself if that is something that you, if like these rings like that would work for you or not. I've never been big on decorating things, so I don't need space to do that. Okay, so this goes in here. To-do list. This. To-do list. This. And then I'm just gonna leave those two to-do lists in here. Ugh, shoot. All right. I know that these are stickered on, or there's something written on, but I can see myself decorating with these bigger cards that I often get in my Extravagant Hope mailer. And I just used a tiny bit of double-sided tape. And so if I remove this and stick it back on, then I could put one here if I wanted to put one here. So I have some lined paper here that I want to start with all of those, where was this? What is it called? Happy Mail, YouTube Ideas, Creative Ideas, Backpacking. So that is pages that I want to use for this, and I want to use the lined paper because I really like lined paper. There's one more of these that I could stick on, and then I have this tiny mini graph paper, which I don't really know what I'm going to use for. An idea that or a thought that I had was that I could, once I'm done with the, well, first of all, I don't really need to keep the weekly pages, right? But also, once I'm done with the to-do lists, I could take them and put them somewhere else until I'm fully done processing them. That could be a thing. I'm not sure if that's going to happen though. Then there's this lifter right here. Oh, they're called lifters. That's what they're called. With this elastic here, which divides, what is this? Oh, the elastic. Some things that I still had in my A5 planner, which is thoughts on goals. I have a weekly review right here. And then this is from 2024. I just stuck it in here so that I could go through this and eliminate at some point. And then I have put 3 of those binders here for, I think, Happy Mail, crafty ideas, and YouTube ideas. And then maybe I'm gonna even add one more for the backpacking. But I think what I'm going to do is keep those lists here, and once they're more than just one, I would put them, oops, I'm so sorry. I would put them into those project binders. If you have those, let me know how you use them, because maybe I'll take them back out. I'm not sure if I need them right now. That is all I have right now. I'm going to, this is how much these weekly pages take up. So this is July and August and the pages for September, plus the monthlies from August to March 2026, plus a July insert from somewhere else, and then some pages for all the lists that I want to make. What I'm going to do, hopefully before I leave, is taking all the things that I currently have in my weeks and moving those lists over here. Yeah, and that's it. The thing that is bothering me right now with this pen for sure is that it doesn't really fit into this pen loop. It does, but it bulges it out, and then it's like a struggle, like a real struggle to get it back out. I wonder how the Hobonichi pen fits. This is one from 2023. It fits better, but I think this rubber here is making it slide harder. That sounds dirty. What? So that is this new thing. I really love the color. I'm so glad I got it. If you are curious about how much I paid for this whole set, so I didn't go and check if the person that sold it to me gave the right numbers for the original price, but he priced it at $372-ish for this whole set, with everything that you see included in here with all those lifters and stuff. Now, I didn't have to pay taxes because when I put a binder, the closure plus the grid, those, you know, the weekly pages that I showed you that I'm using as weekly pages into my card at Plotter, I think it came to $268 including taxes. And I paid for this whole thing, I paid $300 now. Which, yes, it is more than what I had originally planned on spending, but it is definitely less for all the stuff that I got. So, what are you doing back here? I think I'm done talking now. I hope you are having a really good rest of your day. I will see you again soon, and yeah, I'm gonna go and journal a little bit, and maybe I'm gonna take you along for that as well.